Joe. Good morning.
Good morning.
Swiffle was in early. Um, he had a question in chat. Be, uh, you might know. Angelfish eggs. He was wanting to know how long they turn white when they're not unfertilized. When they're not
Oh, when they're
fertilized.
not fertilized, the times I've played around with them, kind of varied. I've had them turn within a day or so, and I've had some go like gradually over the days of as they go as well. Um, I think it kind of vary. I'm not really sure on that one, to be honest with you. Like I said, I've had it all different time frames.
Yeah, I couldn't answer it. I just know the one time I had a bunch. They laid the eggs, and a big pleco came over and ate them all. And I think they said, "Nah, I ain't doing this again."
I'm actually moving on from my angelfish. I still have them. I put them in another aquarium, so I got some upcoming videos where I've got some new inhabitants in some of my tanks. So
Very cool. Well, everybody in chat already knows who Pattys Aquatics is. Everybody watches his videos. He's all about the filterless natural tanks. Very good at it. His channel has gained. I think at the time, Patty, you had less. I could be wrong, but I think you had less subscribers than me. And then you may have always had more than me. I can't remember, but looking back, you just ballooned. You,
a couple
yeah,
good videos does it for you.
yeah.
I started YouTube not even a year ago. It was the end of March last year. Um, Funny enough, it started out as a joke. I actually had a fake channel, not a fake channel, but a channel I made like 3 years ago that I made like 2 videos on just for shits and giggles, pretty much, if I can swear on here. But and I never told anyone about it. And I fessed up to my wife one year, like I said, about 3 years later, and she's like, "Really?" So she's like, my brother-in-law was like, "Well, why don't you try making one?" So I jokingly made one, and I put a short out, and I got like 1,000 views. And I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Okay, let's try this."
Yeah. Yeah,
And then it just
it makes you feel good when you start getting views and all that interaction.
uh,
And I think you told me that one video you put about out not just your fish room tour, but I can't remember the other one, but what double thousand views?
yeah, I had, well, the one resurrection jar video I put out it still gets close to 50 to 100 views a day. That's only got about 14,000 views now, but that fish room tour, that one blew up, and that's what really kind of put me over the edge here and got me monetized and everything too. That's got 30,000 views, and that one just blew up. So yeah, I'm grateful for for all of it. Really, I wasn't expecting anything more than just to have some fun making some videos about what I'm doing in my fish room, and that's pretty much still what I'm doing. Whatever happens, happens. But I'm having fun doing it.
Yeah, and you do very well making the videos. I always enjoy watching them. They're very relaxed. I could probably take a page out of your book. I'm always jacked up, talking fast. I could probably take a page out of your book. And the cool thing is you get people like Corey at Aquarium Co-op commented on your video once or twice, and now you've got your first member. You want to tell everybody who your first membership is?
Yeah. So I opened up membership along right when I first got that 500, or not the, yeah, the five. I got over the 500 subscribers when you can have just membership. So I opened that up. Then I really never expected anyone really to join my channel as a member. Um, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to offer. I will eventually if more people get on it. But also, when I looked on my studio and I'm like, I have a new member. I'm like, what? So I go look, and it was Father Fish. So my one member of my channel is Father Fish. So like I was telling you, I'm like, what do I do for that? For one member, do I make like him a personal video for himself for member only?
Yeah. I mean, like, and I think what I replied was, nothing. I mean, he wanted to subscribe to you. One, you share his passion in the fish keeping hobby. I think that he likes the fact that what he wants to do is spreading and getting bigger and bigger, and that's a reward enough for him that you're spreading how he likes to keep fish. Hey, and I don't knock him. He can be very controversial. Some people get mad at him. I see the comments on Facebook and some of the stuff they say to that man, and it's like, the guy's been he's forgotten more than I know. And I saw a video. I asked on his live stream, and nobody got back to me. I saw a video where Petco is going to adopt his
Yeah, there was a Petco. Actually, I think it was an employee of one of those Petcos, and I don't know what city it was. They put up a father fish tank within the Petco to kind of help educate people coming in, to show them, that this is possible and it's not a bad thing, and like that type of stuff. So, yeah. But when you talk about the hate he gets, I see it every day when I share my videos sometimes that are relating to his stuff on like Facebook groups. Like some of the people that just get off, who would just go away and blah blah blah. He's a hack. He's a fake. All this kind of stuff. I'm just like, have you people actually ever tried this style of tank? Like my thing from the very beginning is basically, I don't care how you want to take care of your tank. Everyone has their own way they want to do it. If you want to do a dirted tank, if you want to do regular tanks, you want to do bare bottom, I don't care. As long as you're enjoying it, I'm just showing the way that I'm doing it. But the way people get so upset at it, it's just like, have you ever tried it though? Take the man out of the equation. Mm-hmm. Maybe you don't like the way he talks or whatever in his videos, but have you actually tried that style of tank? Because there are lots of benefits from it, and I myself have found it very beneficial as a hobbyist, and I really enjoy it. So, I mean, I think people just need to take a step back, because it's always been, people are always afraid of change. It's always something that always like throws them off, and they don't like change. I just think that's that situation too.
But you know what? If we don't change and we stay stagnant, we never grow, and that's why I'm like, you know what? I'm not knocking this. I'm going to try it. So I set up a 10-gallon. I texted you for advice. And like I've been saying on my videos, and I think even I was talking about it in my last live stream, that 10-gallon tank down there is thriving. There is no algae. The plants are, the tank ain't big enough for the plants anymore. They're beautiful. They're green. They're lush. They're popping out of the top. There's no more room for them to grow. What do you do with that?
Yeah.
And I'd never do anything with it except top it off with some water.
Yeah, I don't have to do much myself. The tank behind me, my 75, I actually just yesterday I started the food web process of it, which I'll have a video of that coming out. I added my resurrection jars to it, so kind of curious to see how that goes. So I plan on doing that with pretty much the rest of my tanks down here. I don't know. Like I said, you could take the man out of the advice and out of the content if you don't like him so much, if people don't like him. But what he's saying, I mean, there's truth to it. Like you said, that guy, he's older. He's been in the hobby longer than we've been alive. I mean, he knows a few things.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't like it, don't do it. It's not a big deal, but there's no reason to bash it, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's amazing. I like him every time I listen to him. And my wife, she's one very frugal person. And she might be sitting beside me when I'm listening to one of his videos or his live streams, and he'll say some of the stuff like, you don't need this stuff. You don't need this. It's a waste of money. She'll be looking at me, giving me the evil eye. Really? Really? We've been buying Prime, and we've been buying all this crap. Food? You can get free food? But my only rebuttal, my only thing I had to say towards that is I just don't know how well it would work with certain fish, and you obviously already know that. But I keep bigger tanks, bigger fish. You're not going to be able to do this with Mbunas, Oscars.
No, not at all.
Angelfish tank, sure. 55-gallon angelfish tank, 40 gallons, sure. They don't interact with the substrate a lot.
No,
if I could, I'd turn every one of these the same way right now, but I just can't do it.
No, I 100% agree with you that not every fish is suitable for this style of tank. Like when my Fahaka puffer, I was a little leery. I was just going to put sand in it. But then I'm like, you know what? I mean, typically Fahakas will bury themselves in the sand. Mine never really completely buried himself. He always kind of went like halfway. And I just thought to myself, I'm just going to put more cap. I'm going to put more sand on top of that dirt to give myself a little bit of an extra buffer layer just to be safe. And he's never breached it. He spits his sand around and makes a little pit where he likes to hide in. But other than that, he doesn't dig up the sand to get down with the dirt at all so far. So I've been very lucky.
Yeah. But, but going back to what you said, people they want to get mad as opposed to trying things. Well, I wanted to try it. I wanted to see how it works. Mm-hmm. And I'm utterly impressed with it. Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean. If you're afraid to try things, if you don't want to try something before you can give an educated opinion on something, just what's the old adage? If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Type of thing, you got to try it before you have it. Have you ever tried one? Then how can you talk about it? because talking about something and doing something is two very different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm impressed. I love that dang tank, and I'm super proud of you with your channel. It's blew up. I'm like, yeah, go, 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 and the whole time. It's awesome.
Yeah, I honestly, I was a little mind blown at it. He said I put that fish room tour video out. I think that was the Friday after Thanksgiving. Then all of a sudden, it just like getting over 1,000 or more views a day. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Like my goal was to get 1,000 subscribers and hopefully be monetized by the time summer started. It all happened right before Christmas. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty sweet. And then I think you said you had to explain to me. You have to earn $100 before you can actually start getting paid.
Yeah, YouTube. I think you can set the limit, but the minimum is $100 before YouTube will pay you out. So I haven't reached that yet. I'm almost there. It's slow. You don't make a lot of money on YouTube unless you're a big YouTuber. Someone like me doesn't make that much, but that's okay. It's more for fun anyway. When I get that first check, it'll be like accomplishment.
Yeah. And you know what? You can take that. Something's better than nothing. And you could literally take that money, maybe put it in like your bank account or a PayPal account and use it just to support your hobby. You know what I mean? And stay away from your main money. Yeah. I don't mean it. Everybody in chat, I am reading and seeing everything you say. I'm not ignoring you, but when I have somebody up, I like to focus on them. I don't know what Swiffle means here. He's sharing. I'm sharing stream on my live. I didn't know that was whatever you want to do. I don't care. I'm a very translucent person myself. What does he mean? I'm sharing stream on my live. I don't know what that means.
I'm not sure either.
But a lot of people are saying hello to you. I don't know. Can you see? You've got that.
I see it, but I'm looking at us talking, so I always neglect the chat over on the side. I'll try to pay more attention to it.
Yeah, you got to multitask. But a lot of people, it's looking great. I love the activity. We've got 18 people in here. So going forward with your channel, as we discussed before, it's very hard sometimes to come up with content at times, and especially with maybe not so much you, because you're doing something that's on the way up, that came out of the closet, and people are getting more visibility on it. It's becoming more popular. So, but like when you have a filterless tank and you have a tank that's plant controlled, and you're not using products, and you really don't use a lot of equipment such as power heads, how do you come up with ideas for your videos? Like, at this point, I guess what I'm trying to ask you is, do you feel like you've almost made a video on every subject in this aspect of the hobby?
It feels like it sometimes. Like I said, I usually just trying to document what I'm doing every day, and if there's something every week or whatever is going on, if I think of something, I've always got like a few ideas in the back of my head of ones that I want to do yet in the future. Now that I started this food web, now I've got a plethora of different videos I have ideas for to do now. Going and collecting more resurrection jars, collecting leaves and stuff from the rivers and dry leaves from outside, adding them to all my tanks, kind of showing the progress, that type of stuff. So I've got lots of ideas now, but they can come when you run through them. Then it's sort of like, okay, now what? That's when you start getting like, okay, let's do a tour, like maybe every 6 months, or if something changes or I got new fish, now that's a perfect opportunity. I was just at a fish show last weekend. Now I didn't take any footage at the show, but I did make a video about what I brought home and where I put them, and kind of plug some of the vendors in the organization that ran it. So I'm hoping there's still going to be things continuously that pop up, but I typically only put out a video every Friday. Once in a while, I'm going to throw Tuesdays in there. But I don't want to oversaturate my material, because my fear is that, like you said, I'm going to run out. And then what?
Well, here's an interesting thing Tommy said, using dirt bags instead of a soil layer for larger fish, and then they can dig all they want.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Yeah.
That might be an idea for content for you too. My mom popped in there from Facebook a little earlier.
Yeah, the bags with the dirt, I do actually like that idea. The only way I'd be able to do that is to convince my wife to let me get another tank, which good luck.
If you were going to keep a bigger fish, what would it be?
Oh God, you know what? I
Loaded.
am in the closet monster fish fan, to be honest with you. Those were always my passion in the beginning before I actually started to get into these smaller fish. If I could have one fish in the world, I would never have room for it, and it would be an arapaima. Never have room for it. Like I said, I have a list of all these fish that I would love to have, but I would have to turn my basement into a pond, and it'll never be big enough, probably even. But
Yeah.
I've always wanted a Mubu puffer too, like the ones from Aquarium Co-op.
Mhm.
That's what actually got me into wanting this puffer, because I knew I could never have that one because it would be way too big for anything I would be able to house it in. So I got with the Fahaka, but I like lots of big fish. I had Oscars before too. I had green terrors or gold soms. Really, they weren't official green terrors. I used to breed them. So I was in the sticklers before I got into all of these type of fish. And my first fish was actually a red belly piranha. That's why I had the logo. It's a piranha on there to kind of throw back to the first fish I ever owned.
Oh, cool. That's cool. I was always wondering about that. I just thought it might be something you designed, but now I know the story behind it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
I was trying to find logos, and that one popped up, and I'm like, yeah, it's a piranha. Perfect.
Thanks, Swiffle, for that. I appreciate it. You most certainly can do that. It already is. That don't bother me. Let me see here. Maybe use a better phrase. Came out of the closet. I don't know how else to put it right now. So if you were going to get another tank, let's say you wanted to create content with Tommy's idea of using the bags to contain the dirt, so you can still do your sand cap natural tank. I'm assuming you would want to probably look at something like 125 gallon, and maybe put, let's say, a couple Oscars in it. June told me that as long as you have plants with Oscars when they're babies and they grow up with them, it's usually not an issue with them tearing them up. So knowing that information and what Tommy said, is that something you would think about trying, just to see if that style of fish keeping is up for the task?
Absolutely. I think I could do that with an Oscar. Like I said, I used to have them, and I had them in planted tanks.
Mm.
Once in a while, they'd swim through the plants and take a bite and kind of pull them out. But that's the case too. You want to find probably more plants that are going to be more root based compared to, like, you're going to still want stem plants, but crypts, swords, stuff like that. That's going to be harder for them to pull out of the substrate.
Yeah. I'm wondering, instead of bags, I'm wondering if you couldn't just do as normal, where you line the bottom. I don't know what you'd need for a 125. I'm assuming 4, 5, 6 inches of dirt in a 125.
I don't think you want to go that deep yet. I still think you probably want about an inch or so. I don't think you typically don't want too much dirt. You can put more cap as much as you want from what I'm aware, but dirt wise, you don't want to put too much in there from everything that I've read and seen.
Build up
Even
too many gases.
if you go even a smaller tank, excuse me, drinking soda. You go even smaller tank. If I believe I've seen videos from Father Chef Fish, I think he said even like a 10 gallon or smaller, you shouldn't even put an inch in there. You should put a little less. So I don't know the exact measurements, but I would say probably no more than 1.5 in that big of a tank, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I was thinking, instead of having to use bags, maybe you put your however deep layer of soil, and then maybe you could get like some kind of mesh netting, almost maybe like a landscaping mat that you would put down that lets water through. You know what I mean? That you could put on and then cap it with that.
As long as the plant roots are going to be able to reach down through there,
right,
into the dirt. Possibly. The Oscars I had were never real big diggers. I don't know if yours are.
Yes, very bad.
They are? Okay. See, that's the thing. Like, every fish has got its own personality too. Like I said, with like my Fahaka here, typically they're big burrowers and all that stuff, where mine isn't. Or if this guy was actually one that burrows himself all the way down on the substrate, I wouldn't be able to get away with having a dirty tank with him. So that's the other thing too, the personality of your fish.
Yeah, exactly. These guys here are constantly pluming that. When I set that tank up, I actually bought the sand from PetSmart. Worst decision I ever made. One, the cost of it. Two, it's lighter than your like pool filter sand and your diamond sandblasting sand. So when they dig, it just plumes up. So I was forced to put a pre-filter on my drill holes, take that intake screen off the FX6, drill holes in the tube, and then put a pre-filter on there. And every once in a while, that pre-filter will cave in, and I know it's time to replace it. But I had to do that because I was getting so much sand inside my canister filter tank because they're always pluming it up. They dug a hole right to the bottom. I got 10 gallons underneath of it, and you can see the light coming through the bottom of the tank from them. They're crazy. They were playing with heaters, and I had to take my fluval glass heater out because I was afraid they were going to break it. They were bang, 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 hitting it. You guys don't want to electrocute them or myself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I had bought one Oscar, and then my stepson got rid of all his fish and gave me his too. So I had 3 of them in a 70. It was actually this 75, and it was way too small for him. So I had to rehome them because it just wasn't big enough for them all. And they would be constantly bashing at each other. But it was good when I had the one for quite a while. And then I actually switched to, I had some ornate Beischers as well. Both were cool. I like them. I don't remember. They dug a little bit, but I always had K's for them. That would be an interesting one too, because I'd always love to get a Beischer again someday. My problem is I'd have to grow it out in another tank before I could put it in here with him, because it'd be basically a spaghetti noodle.
Yeah. How many total tanks do you have now?
Let's see, about 11, something like that, in there, that range. I don't count some of the tiny ones I have over there, but technically they are tanks.
Yeah, you're like me. They're just little tanks. How long have you been keeping fish, Patty?
So I started when I was about 19-ish, back in 94, 95.
Mm-hmm.
I kept fish, probably all the way until 2010 or 2012, in that area. Then I gave it up for a little while, then got back into it again about like 7 years ago, something like that.
And I know you put a video out on that, and I did watch that where you discussed that.
Yeah, like I said, when I first started the hobby, I knew nothing. No, I know there was internet at that time, but I never used it for anything. If there was YouTube, I had no idea about it. So anything I learned and did, it was just from, the side of a box. You need a filter, you need a heater, you need all this. I need to do water changes all the time, and it's just what I did. I had cycled through different fish, and that multiple tank syndrome started early because I got that first 29-gallon tank with a red belly piranha. And then I never fed it live fish, and that was always like one of the things why I wanted to see it eat goldfish, because that's what I get a piranha for. It was like, this thing isn't vicious. I'm like, what the heck? So then I got another tank. I got a 55-gallon, and I bought 3 more piranhas. Then it started again. Then I got another 55-gallon, and that one kind of switched around. I had these little, I don't know what kind of gars they were. They're little gars about probably like 4 inches long.
Yeah.
Those were cool. I had those with fire eels in there. Like I said, I knew nothing, tank size, any of that kind of stuff. I don't know. Those are fish I like. I grab them. Then my brother actually got a little fish for his little community tank from a little local fish store we had at the time, and told him it was a community fish. He brought that home, and it ate all his fish in his fish tank, and asked if I wanted it. It wound up that was a snakehead. I kept that thing for, I don't know, probably at least 6 months till I got probably over a foot long. And I'm just like, yeah, no, I can't keep this thing no more. So, and then I kind of moved on to cichlids, where I got like a Jack Dempsey and that kind of stuff. And then when I moved into the house I'm in now, we decided to go to the community tank route. And like I said, I knew nothing. I was just buying fish at stupid PetSmart, throwing fish in there left and right. They kept dying. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. So I just threw my hands up, gave up for a while. Then I worked with a coworker who had big into tanks and fish tanks and planted tanks. And I saw one of his tanks online, and it was so heavily planted, it just, I fell in love with it. And my stepson at the time actually was getting another tank, so he gave me one. and that's where the rabbit hole kind of started to go down. Yeah. Then I started to do research. I found YouTube. That's where I found Aquarium Co-op. and watched like every one of his videos up to that point, just about everything, nitrogen cycle, how to DIY stuff, the plants and all that kind of stuff. And that kind of gave me the knowledge to start. That's why I like aquarium co-ops so much, is because I think they're not geared just only to beginners, but they're very helpful for people just starting out in this hobby, especially to not be afraid of getting live plants and doing live plants, and trying to make things a little easier. At least the videos were back in the day, and so I really enjoyed that. And I learned a lot from that, and that's kind of where my exception started from there. I had a 65-gallon tank I planted, and then I got another tank, which is my swordtail tank now. And I put down, that was my first tank in the fish room down here. And then it just started getting another one and another one and another one and another one.
Yeah.
To this.
Yeah, that's an awesome backstory. I was always curious. I know, like I said, I know you put a video about explaining a little bit, but I don't know if it was in that much detail. But you are right about aquarium co-op. If you Google something about this hobby, 9 times out of 10 they come up. And even if you get on their website, they break it down really well. So like even your newbiest noob can understand everything, down to medications and everything. And this Shrimpin said he gets his sand from Lake Michigan. He's in Wisconsin, like you, Wisconsin. Have you ever done that? Have you got the sand from the lake?
Yep. All my sand in my tanks, all of them down here from Lake Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Well, my swordtail tank, the base of it is my pool filter sand, but I added it on top because it already was pool filter sand in there. But this past summer, I went down to the beach of Lake Michigan in Sheboygan, here where I live, and I don't know if it's against the law, so I filled up buckets upon buckets. I actually have like 3 more in my little room down here for spare in case I needed more for over the winter.
Yeah. And it's never given you any problems, never introduced diseases you didn't want?
Nope, not at all. I haven't seen anything. The most I got to do is pick out some shells once in a while that I see in it.
Yeah. That's cool. And you just take it and put it in. You don't do anything special.
The first couple, I kind of rinsed it a little bit, but I'm just like, you know what? I don't care, to be honest with you. And I haven't had any issues so far. And it's been, quite a few months. So I would assume if there would have been issues, I would have encountered it already. It is a little finer sand. It almost reminds me more of a play sand like consistency compared to the pool filter. The pool filter is like a little heavier and coarser, heavier, where the sand from Lake Michigan seems to be can dust around a little bit more, but I don't use filters, so it's not going to clog that one up.
I was texting Tommy about this, but I had commented on one of Father Fish's recent videos asking if he'd be willing to let me review his product and send it to me. I said, I got a couple spare aquariums I can set up. He was absolutely all for it. He said, I would love to see your experience with it. And I said, okay, well, how do I get a hold of you? He didn't get back to me. So Tommy gave me his email, his personal email, and I sent it to him, but I haven't heard a reply yet. So I give him my address. I know that you do it and he does something, but like Tommy's saying here, he adds ash and other humic. You sprinkle some stuff on top of your dirt before you cap it. What is all that?
Oh, I just use Osmocote. It's not organic. It's a fertilizer. It's a time-release fertilizer. When I originally was looking to do a dirted tank, the first time I came across it was watching Dustin's fish tanks, to be honest with you. And I kind of like, a dirted tank. This sounds really cool. So that was before Father Fish kind of blew up. And I was watching LRB Aquatics too, which is another inspiration for my fish room with no filters. And I wanted to try something like that because I already was starting to go no filter, but I wanted to try dirted tank. So I came across Father Fish because I was looking for recipes for what I should use for a dirted tank, because this whole natural dirted tank thing wasn't a craze like it is now back then. This was about 3 years ago. And came across one of his videos where he put a dirted tank together and showed every single ingredient he used for it. So I wrote it all down. And then I went to my local Menards lumber store, whatever you want to call it. And not everything was there, and some of the stuff was really expensive. I'm like, this is more than I'm going to be able to justify to my wife spending all this. So I grabbed a few bags of this and a few bags of that. But one of the things that was on there was Osmocote. So I did grab a thing of that. And the first couple I did, I put a little bit of everything else that I had found in there. But since then, I just been putting the organic potting soil, the organic compost, and then I put some Osmocote in there. And so far, so good. Like I said, long term, I'm hoping that it will continue and be able to still thrive. So only time will tell.
Yeah, and Tommy, like he does, I mean, he's homesteader,
Yep.
and he says he puts ash, humic, and some other things on his dirt. That all stuff he just gathers around the house. I remember watching a video where he put a stick that was outside that had like moss and how like gray looking bark on the stick, and he threw it in there, and the pleco ate it up and loved it. I don't know if the pleco still lived or what happened after that, but he's sprayed up. You guys do the same kind of hobby, into the fish keeping aspect of hobby of all natural. And so you guys, I don't know if you watch a lot of Silver Creek Aquatics, but he's a lot like you.
He's even more natural than I am. I'll say that. And I really like that too.
Yeah.
So, 100%. I don't know. I enjoy these natural, see, that's the thing too. I say I want a natural aquarium. I don't know how they're not real natural tanks. I don't think anyone's ever going to be able to achieve an actual natural aquarium like it would be actually in the wild. You get them as close as possible as we can. Because that's like when we go back earlier talking about people bashing like these type of tanks. That's another thing about natural aquariums. You can't achieve that. Well, yeah, you probably can't overall achieve a complete natural aquarium, but you can try to make it as close as possible. So that's kind of that's my goal as far as from my account. What I'm able to achieve is to try to make them as natural as I personally can with what I have available to me. So
Yeah, because what do we got? We've got enclosed. We've got a box. It's not naturally fed. It doesn't naturally leave. But you're 100% right in what you say. Are we using that natural term a little bit too loosely? Yeah. So going forward, what's in store for Pattys Aquatics channels? You have any ideas that you want to share with us? Maybe you don't want to share any insight, but what are you going to do?
Honestly, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. My whole point from the beginning with this channel was to basically just kind of document what I'm doing in my fish room. And it always has been the goal, because I know starting out, even from the very beginning when I first got into the hobby, before I knew anything about internet, just not knowing what the heck I was doing. And even when I started these dirty tanks, like I said, it wasn't a huge thing at that time. And there was not a lot of information on there that I could find personally from people that I actually knew who they were. So my goal is just to show what I'm doing, show all the good and all the bad. If something's working for me or if something's not, I'm going to show that too, just to see if anybody's out there. Maybe I can help somebody. And then on top of that, maybe there's somebody who knows what they're talking about or knows experiences of what maybe I'm missing in my videos that can put them in the comments to help somebody. So I'm just looking to try to make a platform or a forum for just showing what I'm doing, and maybe other people that maybe have answers more than I do that can put them on there as well. Because I know me searching through videos in the past, looking for things, I want to find answers sometimes. And it's kind of hard, especially if you go online on forums. Not that it could be any different in comments on YouTube, but, you get so much differing opinion. Or it's nice to be able to just try to see, okay, with my own two eyes, I've seen this person do this in his video, and it worked for him. It makes me feel more comfortable to be able to try this because I'm interested in it. So that's pretty much my goal. It's just to keep documenting what I'm doing down here.
Now, kind of to bounce off of that, because like I said, when I started my YouTube channel, it has done nothing but help and improve me, because you get comments and you learn. Like, we became friends and we help each other. It's nothing but if somebody wants to start the fish keeping hobby, I always recommend starting the channel, because your networking is unbelievable, and the things you learn and the support you get is great. But you also have that other side, right? That dark side. The video one time you put out, I watched, where you had a bunch of algae issues, and one of the guys commented, said, you got impatient. I told you, Patty. And so the dark side, what are the downsides? What are the biggest challenges you've had to deal with?
I'm fine with like constructive criticism. Like I said, I don't do everything right down here. And, it sucks sometimes reading the stuff, but it's okay because that's how you learn too. What I have a hard time more with is like, as far as with the channel itself, is, which I'm going to explain in a video actually coming out next week, is like, I feel like you got to document and record everything I'm doing in this process. And like when I was at that fish fair last weekend, I had full intentions of doing a full in-depth tour of the entire fair and everything. But when I got to that day, I was just like, I kind of want to enjoy myself today. I want to be able to go around and talk to people, sell my stuff and go buy stuff and not have to worry about recording this or recording that to get everything in for a video on top of having fun just talking to people. So I decided not to do it. So I think that's the biggest thing right now that's hardest, is trying to pick and to find some actual time to be able down in my fish room where I'm not recording, just to enjoy myself as well. So that's the balance I need to find. But as far as the other stuff, I haven't found too much criticism on YouTube itself. There are some stupid comments sometimes you get from people. If it's people that have been commenting on my videos, like that guy that said something about the patience, I'm fine with that because he's been commenting on a lot of my videos and giving me lots of decent advice and feedback. So and I agreed with him. I kind of jumped the gun on it. I could have tried something differently and a more of a natural route to try to fix it. But in the back of my mind that day, I wanted to get plants in this tank because it was in my 75 here. And I was going to this fish show and planned on getting a bunch of plants in it to put in there. And I didn't want that cyanobacteria in there. So my idea was just to wipe it out as fast as I could. Yes, it could have been a cool teaching moment to try to do it somewhat differently, but that's just the way I decided to do it. So I'm fine with that type of criticism. But when you get people that are just, I get them once in a while on there, just dumb comments. They make some stupid comment. And then if you reply to it, it sits in your studio. And that bothers me. I like to reply to every single comment. And I don't like when there's one sitting there saying you haven't replied to. So I'll just do that. There you go. Yeah, exactly. I have a harder time actually on Facebook when I share my videos to different groups, because I joined, I don't know, probably close to 30 different Facebook groups from around the country and some around the world too, that I'll share my videos on to, just to kind of network it. And like I said earlier, some of them that have to do with the word father fish in it or something with those natural tanks, that's when you usually get the trolls. And that's when it's sort of like, I don't care to engage in drama and stupidity, to be honest with you, most of the time. So it's usually I just ignore it. There's one guy that made some comment once about, it was my last one, about what happens after you remove a filter. He says it's going to look dirty and stupid. It's going to be a Wallstead tank and everyone's going to think it's awesome. And my comment to him was basically, everyone has their own way that they want to do their tanks, and however they feel more comfortable and how they like it, that's all that's really important. I don't care for over-filtered sterile tanks, but if you want to do that, that's completely up to you. Well, and the administrators of that page wound up taking out the comments, but it's just like that kind of stuff. It's like you said, just ignore it.
Because at the end of the day, you did this for your enjoyment. You're sharing a passion that you love with other people who share the same passion, right? When the moment it starts to be not fun, more of a pain in the butt, is the time you need to start doing what you did, like when you went to that fish swap auction.
Yeah, fish swap.
You didn't record it because you wanted to spend the time enjoying it, and that's what you did, and that's great. You have to do that sometimes. It doesn't always have to be about catching that video or doing that.
No.
Then the longer you wait, the more time you're going to have to come up with ideas. Or a lot of times I'll come up with an idea just because something went wrong. Oh man, that's a good thing to put on a video. Recently I contacted Chemipure, Boyd Enterprises, and asked if they'd send me some product. And it took him a while to get the approval, but he did. He sent them to me, and I've already made the review video. It goes out here in 20 minutes, 10 a.m. my time. Right. And when I do videos like that, I rewatch and I run them through a TubeBuddy SEO checklist. And, I put chapters on this one because it's longer, because I don't expect everyone to sit there, although it'd be nice to watch the entire thing. I wanted to put chapters in so they could skip. So that takes a little bit more time to add chapters in and things like that. And, I think, that video went on to be like, it was almost 30 minutes, but I was able to knock it down to like 26, cutting the fluff out. I really wanted to leave that stuff in, but I got to think about the viewers too. Do they really want to see this part? Now let's get it out of here. So you really got to think about, when you're doing a YouTube channel, yourself, not just yourself, others. Like if I was going to sit down and watch this video, would I be interested?
No, yeah, I have a hard time sitting through very, very long videos myself.
Yeah.
You know, I try to keep mine under 15, 16 minutes tops, but
Yeah.
sometimes they run it really depends on the topic. Sometimes you can't fit it all in that amount of time.
Exactly. And I just wanted to get everything that I wanted to learn, all the information they sent me. And it was over a span of a week, and everything I did in my tanks experimenting with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how do you, and I can't remember who was telling me, it might've been Aquarium Ventures or maybe it was Mad Mex here. He was like, stop worrying about what other people think so much and just do it to your enjoyment. And the people who want to watch that kind of content will come to it. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. So now I just make the video and try to shorten up as much as I can, make it as engaging as possible with accurate information. That's the other thing. You got to put accurate. People will call you on your bull crap out here if you're wrong. You have got to have your ducks in a row.
Absolutely. I did see in a comment from Something Ain't Easy up here. He asked if I went to the South Wisconsin fish swap. I just want to answer him that I did not. They actually asked me if I wanted to have a table there, but I don't have a monstrous fish room with a lot of stock to sell. So I only usually go to the Fox Valley Fish Fair that's up in like the Neenah area, Appleton area of Wisconsin. They have it twice a year. So that's typically the only one I go to because that's usually enough for me to be able to sell and deplete my supplies in my tanks and then grow them back like 6 months later. But anyway, I just wanted to answer him because I saw him.
Yeah, very cool. Yep. Yeah, just anytime you see something like that, let me know. We'll pop it up. I'm interested. I think we got Michael Welsh here, maybe interested in doing a natural tank.
Nice. I highly suggest them. I mean, if it's something you're interested in, try it. There's lots of information now online for all different info on how to do them. There's plenty of info to help a person to be successful now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I get lucky because I can just text you. I feel like a celebrity.
Well, this is the thing. My email is on my description of my video. If someone's got a question, please feel free to email me or messenger on Facebook. I have that too. I have a couple people that reach out to me and ask me questions once in a while, and I'm completely fine with it.
Between you and Tommy, I don't need to watch videos. I got real live experience. I can just text, and I love that. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to start getting into a bigger channel, because you know how like KG and DIY King and Aquarium Co-op and all them guys and Ben Ochart, all them guys will text and call each other. Like, the way I see it, we're on our way up. Everyone in this chat room that has the channel on our way up, and we're spending all this time together and supporting each other. Maybe that's us in the future, you know. This is my sister. She's popping in to say hello.
Hello, Jesse's sister. Happy early birthday. When's your birthday?
Oh, March 5th. My mom had to come in and do that. I don't like celebrating my birthday.
Why?
I don't know. I just never have. I just like, I don't need gifts. I don't want gifts.
No, it's another day, but
you're not doing it for yourself. It's all about your own hobby, and you're enjoying it if others like it. And that's like it. Great. If not, oh well. Exactly. Okay, I got around. Okay, buddy. I'll talk to you later. So we're going slow and watch and learn. So how has, I guess I can't ask that because you kind of already answered that. I was going to ask how is, you mixing YouTube with your hobby helped you. We've already discussed that. So you have 11 tanks. They're all natural, dirted, filterless. And I remember when I set this one up and we were texting back and forth. So when I set this one up, I took a bunch of sand out of my Oscar tank because I'm slowly trying to get rid of that crap. That sand alone insta-cycled that tank. But I also have a couple sponge filters running all the time that I use to quick cycle tanks. I put that in there after I set it all up. I still have not taken that dang sponge filter out. And you were saying you were the same way, but after a while you took it out and your nitrates never went, 10 ppm? Yeah.
I've never had a tank after the initial part of first taking my filters out that really go over 10 parts per million. Now I don't really test them much anymore, but it's amazing and very, like, I didn't understand it. Like, I don't understand how this is working, but I like it.
Yeah.
I was very hesitant to take the filters out at first. Like I said, I took them out. So I only had, I think, one dirty tank at that point, and two maybe. But I like LRB Aquatics. It's like that I was watching him, and I'm like, how is he doing this with no filters? Like, this is possible to be able to run your fish room without the noise of filters or all these things plugged in. So I tried it. I'm like, why not? So I took it out of a couple tanks, and I didn't really have many issues at all. I had like a little bit of nitrite in one tank, but that was about it. Where I ran into issues is I didn't have air in them as well, because I wanted to be completely noiseless. And eventually I took them out of every single tank and no air. But then I had two tanks where I was also noticing oxygen deprivation. So I wound up throwing air stones in all my tanks now, but sneak peek, I am making a video about possibly removing air again, or at the very least putting them on timers. But anyway,
Yeah.
But anyway, going back to the topic, yes, after they all settled, I would test my water, and I'm always at barely 10 parts per million nitrates, and that's probably the top. And I was just like, I don't understand it. But then from my understanding is obviously all the plants are really sucking the nutrients out of the water, and then also that deeper substrate is creating an anaerobic bacteria that's basically a denitrifying bacteria that's also eating the nitrates within your aquarium, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Yeah, you are. That's correct.
However, it's working. I like it.
Yeah.
That's why I understand when people say they never do water changes. If you're going off just nitrates, yeah, you never would ever have to. And I get people's concept of not wanting to do water changes. I know this is a controversial subject as well. Because some people that they just do top offs. Like, that was one of my things, that you want to kind of replenish those trace minerals into your aquariums once in a while. So that's a good reason to do small water changes once in a while. But people did have points. I mean, you're topping off your aquarium, so you are kind of replenishing that in there, and your plants are eating a lot of that within your aquarium. So, you know, it goes back again to kind of what I'm always trying to preach myself, is just kind of like, however you feel more comfortable. You know, if you don't want to do water changes and you're fine with it, and your fish and plants and everything are thriving, cool. You know, if you feel like you need to do a little bit of a water change every couple months, like on this style of tank anyway, I get it. It's cool. I do it myself. I probably go like every 3 or 4 months. I don't go down to the substrate typically, but I'll just like go off the top of the water with my Python and take about like 2 or 3 inches out and replenish it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it depends on what you have. Like with your Oscars and stuff, obviously you're going to have to do water changes unless you can heavily plant it somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. I went from weekly to 2 weeks, now monthly. But this leads into the next thing I want to ask you. I don't have issues with nitrates doing monthly water changes, and my fish never seem like they're stressed out or sick or bothered by it. What I have noticed by doing monthly water changes is I'm having phosphate issues. And because of that, algae and cyanobacteria. So I think I'm probably going to have to go back to at least bi-weekly water changes. I have flow. It's not a flow issue. But do you ever check the phosphates in your tanks?
I had in the past. Actually, when this tank was upstairs some years ago, I was battling algae really bad, and it actually wound up being cyanobacteria, but it was like in a reddish color, and I didn't think it was the blue-green algae, because that's typically blue-green algae. I'm looking for blue-green color, not this red color, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I actually ordered a phosphate kit, and I ordered some phosphate pads from Aquarium Co-op to put in my filter at that time. This was when I still ran filters. And I got the phosphate test, and I was 100% positive that it was too high of phosphates, and I needed to get rid of that. And then when I tested it, my phosphate was fine. So, but I haven't really used it since then. Actually, someone did recommend maybe trying it on this tank when I was battling that cyanobacteria to see if maybe my phosphates were too high. But I hadn't done that yet. But no, I haven't really tested for it. But I do have the kit, and I do have this pad that I never, ever, ever used.
What I've always been confused about that color coding chart on the phosphate kits. I think they want to say an ideal range is what, a .1, like light green on the color charts where you want to be with phosphates.
Yeah,
I think when you get to 5.0 and up where it gets that real dark blue, 2.0, 5.0, I think you're getting into the range of having too many phosphates. Well, that's the case in every one of my tanks. They're like dark blue. So I'm thinking, well, shit, no wonder I'm getting all this blackbeard algae, which I don't mind algae. Algae is great for your tank. I don't scrape it off the back of my glass. But when I start getting this dang blackbeard algae, it sticks so hard to the plants. You might as well. I think you can do like peroxide dips to help, but man, I tried razor blades. That crap don't come off. It's like I'm gonna have to throw these plants out. That's where I get mad. I don't want the blackbeard, so I'm assuming it's I'm assuming it's because I have too many phosphates. The only way I hear to get rid of phosphates is more regular water changes, maybe 25% water changes in each tank. Yeah. Weekly, bi-weekly. I mean, I don't want to add the chemicals. I know there's crap I can throw in there, but if I can do it naturally, like maybe just doing water changes naturally, but and I think I thought about maybe I get some of them phosphate pads. Did you find that the phosphate pads did help?
I honestly never used it because my phosphates were actually okay when I got so I ordered the test kit and the phosphate pads right away. Because I assumed it was my phosphates and I didn't want to order the test kit and then, okay, it's it. Then go back and order the pad. So I just figured I'd order them both at the same time and I never ever used it. So I couldn't say it worked or not. I did get it from Aquarium Co-op. So it did feel like it's probably a trusted area, but yeah.
Yeah. Tommy says plants utilize a level of phosphates as well. They absorb it. I'm not all I'm sure, but
I think I read too that there are some of the fish foods that have phosphate in there too. So if you feed heavier, that is also introducing more phosphate into your water column.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things when I was doing that ChemiPure review, one of their versions, which is ChemiPure Elite, and it's made to help remove phosphates. And I put 2 sacks of it in this 55-gallon tiger barb tank. So I got algae in here, a little cyanobacteria, and that test was to see if it would help remove some phosphates. As of a week, it hasn't changed. And the other one was to see if it would impact my plants any, because plants will use some phosphate for food. I wanted to see if having 50 gallons worth of ChemiPure Elite would starve the plants. Now, I don't think a week is really enough to test any of this, but they'll be in there as long as I can, and we'll see what happens. But all that's covered in that video. So far, so good. But yeah, I don't know. Having phosphate issues, I got to figure out how to get rid of it just because I hate BBA.
Oh, I absolutely hate it too. It's the bane of my existence when it comes to algae. It has been for years. Right now, the majority of the algae that I get in my tanks down here is just this green string algae, which I find annoying as well, but it's really easy to remove. I just twine it up with your fingers and pull it out. I don't know what it is with my tanks, if it's just the amount of nutrients in the water column or if it's these big high-powered shop lights. I can't speak. I got a light from Higer, a planted light that I put on my one tank in my I haven't done a review on it yet. I just did my unboxing, but I wanted to see if it would help to cut down that hair algae at the top that builds up there. Because I thought maybe it was coming from those shop lights, but I'm still getting it up there. So I don't know exactly what that is coming from. Like I said, it's in every single one of my dirted tanks down here. But as far as blackbeard algae, yeah, I've had that on numerous things over the years. I've used hydrogen peroxide in a bottle. I'd stick it down in the tank and just spray it on the plants, or bring the water down and spray it on stuff, or take wood out and spray it all over the wood. I did find out that Velson area in Dorset does not like hydrogen peroxide, so don't spray it on them. They melt back and die.
I'm glad you said that, because
and my Anubias didn't like it either. I had 2 really nice. They're came back now. I had Anubias Barteri and Nana Petite. I had it on one piece of wood. It was one of my first plants I had, and it was just all over this piece of Mapani wood. And this Barteri that went up to the surface of my water, they had blackbeard algae starting all over it, but they were attached to wood. So I took them out and I sprayed the crap out of them. And then I let it sit while I was cleaning up the tank, and I put them back in. And then in a matter of days, all of a sudden the leaves are starting to turn yellow and starting to get mush. I'm like, oh no. So these poor plants, they look so awesome. So besides the blackbeard algae. So I had to cut them all down, trim them, and put them on new pieces of wood, and they all grew back. But it's just like, ugh. It's like my one tank with my hyphen blue coral varieties over there. I have that barteri in there. So the bottom leaves kind of got holes in them and look shitty, but that's from initially when I sprayed that with hydrogen peroxide and they look like crap. So all the growth above it is good because that's what's grew since then.
Yeah. I don't know. It just, I mean, and like Bunny says here, it comes down to the work. I mean, in the end, it's elbow grease, right? I don't know. And, like up here, KJ Aquatics, I've heard about this green water lab stuff over and over. And he says in his experience, it doesn't work at all. So it's like, how do you get rid of this crap? Water changes weekly and then just cut out what you can and hope for the best.
Yeah.
My lights are on. They are still on a little longer than they should, but 8 hours a day, and they're on timers. And it's like, why am I getting algae? I don't overfeed my fish. I feed every 2 days. It's all high quality food. It's not junk food that just rots and has a bunch of fillers in it. What do you do at that point? Well, I still have too many nutrients in my tank, obviously. I just got to figure out where it's coming from.
Yep. Yeah, my lights are probably on a little longer than they should be too. I mean, I keep them on for 10 hours a day now. Oddly enough, I used to have them on for
15.
Yeah, close to that. Because my thing was like, I wake up very early in the morning, especially on the weekends, and I'm usually down here doing stuff and filming by 5 o'clock in the morning, the latest. Sometimes I can't sleep and I'm down here at 3 in the morning, and then I feed my fish after supper. So I like to keep the lights on till past then at least. So I would keep them on, from like 5 in the morning until 8, 9, 10 at night. And I'm just like, yeah, I probably should cut that down. So I wound up cutting it down. So now they're only on for 8 hours a day, but I probably could even cut that down a little bit more yet or 10 hours a day, excuse me. I probably could cut that down to 8 hours yet.
I got to do the same thing. I like seeing them in the morning before I leave for work, and I like seeing them when I come home. Like First Class says here, he says Tom Barr has shown over and over that nutrients don't directly cause algae. So I'm assuming if we have algae issues, most likely lighting, right, is going to make algae all day long, right? He says it doesn't directly cause algae, but it's definitely got to contribute to it.
Yeah. Like I said, that tank that I have that Higer light on now, I was getting that hair algae at the top, but I also was getting it all on the substrate in that tank. But with that shop light, now that I took that shop light off, that hair algae on the substrate, because it's not as bright as that shop light, isn't growing as much as it had, but the stuff at the top is still growing. So lighting obviously has something to do with it.
Yeah. And I use Easy Green too. And I'm wondering, and I just do 1 pump for 10 gallons of water in every one of my planted tanks once a week. I wouldn't think that dosage would be causing too many phosphates or anything, would you?
I wouldn't think so unless you already have a lot of whatever is causing it in there to begin with, and that's adding to it. But I wouldn't think so. I don't even use fertilizer anymore. So
no. And you know what else? I tested my tap water, and I have 2.0 parts per million phosphate right out of my tap. So that's going into the tank every time. So is it a losing battle for me?
Possibly.
Yeah.
That's where maybe those pads will be more beneficial for you to be able to help decrease some of that and still be able to do what you're doing right now,
And then KJ, he's been telling me some months ago that try Thrive. And my mom asked me what I wanted for my birthday. I told her Thrives, and I told her to get it from KJE here. I don't know if she did it or not, but he said all Easy Green is Thrive. Thrive's the original maker. Easy Green, they just changed the recipe a little bit and slapped Aquarium Co-op's label on it. But he said Thrive has a little bit more concentration, a little bit more oomph behind it. So I'm very curious to try Thrive. And that's what he swears by that. Cool. So I'm hoping it's more complete versus Easy Green.
Yeah, I had an issue not using fertilizer after I started these tanks because of my nitrates being so low. In the back of your head, you're always told that you want your nitrates probably at least 40 parts per million for your planted tanks for them to feed on. And having them at 10 parts per million, it was always worrying me. So I was dosing the crap out of them like every couple of days, at least once a week. and I was never seeing an influx in nitrate. So I'm just like, why am I doing it anymore then? So I stopped, and honestly, my plant growth has still been the same. So but that's obviously with these dirty tanks. When I didn't have dirty tanks, it was a completely different story.
Yeah. Let's see. He says problem is limiting nutrients. Algae grows easier than plants. Don't limit the plant nutrients, and have plenty of healthy, fast plant growth to outcompete it. Well, and for me, all the plants that I keep is your Amazon swords, your jungle vow, your Anubias. I got some crypts. I got pothos at the top of every one of my tank that are growing real well, so I know they got to be doing something right.
Yeah.
But even with all of that, including the fertilizers, including, you know, I also dose Vitachem once a week, which is your Boyd's Enterprises multivitamin for fish. But
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't all that doesn't just help fish, it also gives vitamins for plants. So it's like I'm trying to find that good balance. Obviously, maybe I'm doing okay. Maybe it's because of the fact I had 2.0 ppm phosphates right out of the tap. You
If you're
know,
looking for other plants, I would suggest like some type of stem plants too, because those are some of the fastest growing. Like Pogostemon stellatus octopus, that thing is a freaking weed. You put a little clipping in there, and that thing will grow to the top of your tank within a couple weeks. And then you just make a clip, and wherever you make a clipping, you get 4 new shoots come out of there, and then you have another one you can put there. And if you keep trimming it, you can fill your tank, or not that you will want it to filled up with that, but those are fast growing and are going to be sucking a lot more crap out of your water column as well.
are you talking about plants like water spray?
Water spray too, yeah. Any of those type of like stem plants that are fast growing.
I got water spray, and it does. It grows like crazy. I love it. It grows so much I can't get rid of it enough.
Yeah.
But that's I've got it. I had it and all. I did take it out of some of my tanks just because the flow. That's the only bad thing about those type of plants. It makes a mess under a power head, gets stuck in your filters and all that stuff.
Oh God,
But it's all
that's guppy grass for me. That is my new bane of existence of my existence in this hobby. I mean, people always hate duckweed, and I find it annoying as well. But I can at least scoop that out. I got a little bit of guppy grass. I think it was the year before last at a swap meet with some fish, and I thought, oh, this is cool. I haven't had this before. I threw it in my tank, and it got so thick, and it wound up transferring to just about every little tank, even if it was a little schnibble. And that stuff grows so fast, and it winds up rooting down into your substrate. It wraps all around your other plants, and then it's constantly in there. Trying to get them out of your tank is just pain in the butt, to be honest with you. If you like it, it's fine, but it's like trying to manage that is worse than duckweed, and I freaking hate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I even tried selling, like, I could literally grab handfuls out and put it in a bucket, put some water in there. I tried selling it on Facebook for like $5, like 2 big freaking handfuls in a bucket for $5. Nobody wanted it. And that water sprite's pretty. It's one of my favorite plants. I like it, but like you say, it is very messy. Duckweed is no, I never ever bought duckweed because I watched it because I research before I do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there was way more complaints than there was good things about duckweed. One spore of it left in there, you're still just going to grow. I'm like, I don't want that.
I never bought it either. I bought other floating plants, and all of a sudden, magically, I had duckweed in my tank. It happens, And I think I bought like a Salvinia natans. It's like a little floating plant that looks like a little fern. And all of a sudden, the duckweed started out competing the other plants. It's like, and then, oh, I got a little schnibble of duckweed in this tank now. What the heck? You look back later in the week. Oh, shit. So I've given up the fight. I don't care if I have a tank like this one now that I got a wave maker in here. Shooting at the top of the surface. It doesn't take hold in here, but all the rest of my tanks, by the end of the week, I got to take a net and scoop the crap out of it. I've seen some people on the chat say they like guppy grass, KJE. I don't. I used to like it, like you said, but when it's become invasive in my tanks, that's when I find it annoying. The plant itself is cool. If you when I had just a guppy grass tank, it was pretty decent. But when I'm trying to see the other plants in my tank and it overtakes it and it's constantly going at them, that's what bothers me, especially when I want to clean them out and roots are going into the substrate and wrapping around my dorsage and like stuff, my little wiggy I just planted. I'm like, but anyway, it's not a bad plant. I'm just not for me in my other plant.
Yeah, he says he sells the crap out of it, but he gives duckweed away free.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I give it away free too when people buy my plants because I can't guarantee it's not in there. I try not to. I usually, when I sell them at those swaps, I'll always rinse all my plants off under tap water or in a bucket of water that I have treated water in it, and just to make sure I could try to get it off of there, but it's never a guarantee. Same thing with snails. I have snails in all my tanks. It's the way it is. I can't guarantee you're not going to get nothing out of them.
Right. Yeah. I don't mind snails. Actually, at first I used to fear them, but I'm gonna tell you what, if you have a mass colony of snails like I had in all my tanks at one point, you've never had a cleaner tank.
Yeah.
There is no algae, BBA growing on anything, including plants. They take care of it all.
Oh God, yeah.
They just the only thing I hate is how I got all canister filters, including the hanging backs. Oh my God, I had an FX6 so filled with snails. I had to take it outside and blast it with the garden hose. I had to get them out.
Yeah.
They were how do you live that close to an impeller?
What kind of snails do you have? Do you just have like the regular ram form or bladder snails, whatever?
The pest snails, they call them pest
Yeah.
snails.
Well, I stupidly, a buddy of mine at work, I wanted snails for when I had my first tank down here. He had Malaysian trumpet snails. I'm like, those sound cool. Give me 6 of them. So he gave me 6 of them. And I brought it home, and those things are in every single tank now. I'm going to tell you that. And they would get into my canister filter and be in everywhere, like you said. Oh God, I had them in this tank when they were upstairs, and I had to make snail traps because every time they go in the substrate, so you typically don't see them too often. So they have benefits. They are constantly burrowing in the substrate and eating all the crap in there. But when you feed, then all of a sudden they come to the surface, and at night they'll be all over the glass and everywhere. So I would put little traps out. I bought these little tiny Tupperware containers that are like that big, and I drilled holes in them so I could get water in it, and I put a couple rocks, and I put some food in there, and I would just sink it to the bottom.
I tried that snail trap.
Next morning I'd come up and I'd take like 20 or 30 out each time, and I would do it for a week and kind of cut the numbers down. But yeah, they're in every single tank now. I actually read online that they're actually invasive to the state of Wisconsin now. They're actually illegal to have. I mean, they can have them if they want to come get them. I don't care. How are you going to get them on my tank? I don't know, but
yeah, come on out. Come on over and take what you want.
They're everywhere. At this point, I don't care. But like I said, one of my tanks where I got rid of some of my fish, and I got new fish in it. Before I got the new ones, I still have some shrimp in there, so I would throw a kelp wafer in there from Northfin just to kind of feed the shrimp. And that's one of the short videos I put on that you mentioned, that you commented on. I fed in there, and all of a sudden they were just Malaysian trumpet snails everywhere. I'm just like, okay. Like, so there are some in here. You don't see them very often.
Those little traps work. I just took like an empty water bottle, poked holes in it, and put like cucumber, green bean, just something, wafer, anything in there. I took that damn thing in there, Patty, and not one snail went in that dang thing. You cut the top off the bottle, you turn it upside down or something like that, and cut holes. It didn't work. I just find leaving them go. They'll all eventually die, but that sucks too, because then you got all these white snail shells everywhere, clogging everything up, including the python.
Yeah. Oh, that too. My gosh, trying to suck them up, especially on his tank when he was upstairs before it was a dirty tank. I mean, he decimated the population of Malaysian trumpet snails for me, and any other snail that I put in here. But then wanting to clean the substrate, you're constantly sucking that through your hose, and it always getting stuck. Or I've got the stupid water change thing where you got to pump the thing to get the water going, and everything gets stuck in there and constantly getting out and banging the stupid snail shells out of there. It's like, oh God, I hated it. Absolutely hated it. I got to the point where I just got the siphon going and I pulled that part off and just used the actual hose just to suck them all out.
Yeah. I hate them dang snails for that. But other than that,
otherwise they're extremely beneficial.
Oh yeah, freaking snails for sure. Where I had a massive problem was in a 75-gallon tank, and then this not this tank. Well, I've had the problem probably in all my tanks over the years, but I was actually getting worried. There was the massive amount of snails I had in one of these tanks at one point. But so they said, you can get how I can never say this right. Coolie loaches.
Sure.
I guess they eat snails. Betas will eat snails. Goldfish will eat snails,
Yeah.
and they did get eaten for a little bit, but they could not keep up with the masses. So I would just, during maintenance, I would scoop a whole net full of them out, throw them in the outside pond.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoy them now because my puffer eats them. So I'm fine with snails. Come on all out. So I honestly decimated the populations of a lot of them in my tanks because I would feed them so many of them at a time. So now they're starting to build back up again, or I would just give them a few here and there. But then I also feed them this clams in a half shell so he can at least get something hard on his, wear those big teeth down. But yeah, you need snails, so I love it. I actually got a little 2.5 gallon tank. It's just like a green algae tank now. I just threw snails in there and just letting them populate, and that'll probably be one meal down the road.
Yeah. So, what you got? Anything going on with your tanks today that you have to do, or?
No, honestly, I did everything the last 2 days. I did a lot down here. Cleaned all my duckweed off, get some light back down to my other plants. Actually, I filmed about 4 videos the last 2 days. So that's what I like, getting ahead. Because then in the next 2 weeks, I can just finish up a little bit of editing and put them out and not have to worry, And then I can think about other ideas of what I want to do. But yeah, down here, nothing other than feeding. I ordered some new fish in, so I have a video of that coming in soon. One group of them are doing awesome and swimming around, so I'm hatching up some baby brine shrimp for them right now. The other type of fish, one of them died in transit, and the other ones are still acting really skittish, so I haven't been able to get them to eat yet. So I'm hoping the baby brine shrimp, once that's ready later this evening, I'll get them to eat finally. So, yeah. Other than that, no, feeding fish tonight.
Cool. Hey, I wonder if you'd be willing to show us around your room a little bit. You don't have to if you don't want to. I just didn't know if you want to take the camera around. Can you do that or no?
Sure, I can do it a little bit. It's a little bit of a mess, so.
That's all right. Hey, Patty, I will be right back.
Sure.
I got to go do something, but go ahead and just show them around. Now I'm going to put you on the main jigger here. Move you over here solo. Okay, buddy.
All right.
I'll be right back. Thank you.
No problem. All right, so I guess I can show you guys my 75-gallon tank with my, if I can, how do I flip this? That's probably the question. Well, let's just do this. So that's the 75-gallon tank with my Fahaka pupper named Puff Daddy. He is a little puppy of a dog. He's always begging and wanting food. And then I just bought a bunch of plants at that swap meet I was talking about. And then, like I said earlier, I added my resurrection jars into this tank just yesterday to start the food web process of it. And that'll be an upcoming video in the coming weeks, so pay attention. And then I also have this, if the glare isn't too bad, it's hard to see with doing it this way. I've got the my 100-gallon pond here. I've got some angelfish, some goldfish, and a mix of other things in here. This has become my oddity tank, basically. The big swordtail on it, that thing is monstrous. And then the peace lilies I have here. Other than that, it's just my normal tanks you guys see all the time. I apologize if you can't see. I can't flip my camera, so I'm showing it without me being able to see it. This is my my daughter's 10-gallon tank. It has a beta in it. That's her beta, and then I planted it all. And those are her figurines. They're not mine. I swear I'm not a Paw Patrol, Frozen, or Sesame Street fan. And her beta is up there somewhere. I don't know if you can see it. This is actually my first dirty tank. This one has Taiwanese orange-green double fin guppies, or double sword guppies, excuse me, with a whole bunch of dorsage. Like I said, this was my first one, and really love this tank with the scape of it with all that dorsage. And then up here, these are my high fin blue coral varieties. These things are actually one of my favorite fish in the fish room with that color, how they pop. And then that is the hair algae I was talking about earlier. Likes to spread all over the top of that piece of wood and then down at the bottom. But honestly, the fish love it. The shrimp love it. So I'm not really too worried about it. And then I have some new fish, which I don't really want to show yet. I want that to be a surprise for a video. So let's go back to these guys. And my swordtail tank, I could show you that. This is actually a tank that's on my latest video that I put out Friday. It's a tank tour on this tank with these koi swordtails. They're very interesting. I love the different color variations on them. And there is one in here that's completely white, except for its eyeballs being that black. But I don't see it offhand right this second. But it's got so much Ludwigia in here and different plants. It started off, this was my second planted tank. Oops, trying to get you there. This was my second planted tank. And it started with a pair of Apistos, which I could never get to breed. And then had so much Valsinaria in here. It was so thick and it transferred over from different kinds of fish. And I finally put in all Ludwigia because I just was sick of the constantly pulling out the Valsinaria out of this plant, out of this tank. And I really like it. It really does look like a forest. It actually needs to be trimmed again. It's growing so much.
Yeah, those look great.
And then this is my mixed guppy Endler tank. I don't know how to, I can't put my camera, so it's hard to really get a good picture without seeing what I'm doing. But these, oddly enough, at my swap meet, I really didn't think they would sell. I remember texting you about it, asking, I didn't know what to price them as. And I wound up putting about like 5 to 7 in a bag and just priced them for $5 a piece, and they were gone within a half hour.
Did you do well?
Yeah, honestly, I did. Here, let me turn around. I sold just about everything. Oops, hang on. Technical malfunction. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I did pretty well. I sold just about everything I brought with me. Minus probably like 3 bags of fish and a couple bags of plants. So it was really good. Better than I thought, honestly, going into it. I didn't have a whole bunch of stuff, but I figured I'd make at least enough money that I would supplement what I was buying there. But I wound up making a little bit more, so that was good. The wife liked that too.
Oh, yeah. Very cool. Those tanks look great. I thought that was hilarious with those Disney figures.
Yeah, I know. That was her deal. Like, she wanted that beta in that 10-gallon, and I said, that's fine. And she wants to put those figurines in there. I'm like, that's fine. I said, on one condition. I said, as long as I'm going to dirt it, and I'm going to put plants in it. I don't care. And then I have a little guppy breeding project in there, which actually some of them are really cool. I sold some of them off at this swap. It's a male of those Taiwanese double sword guppies, and the female is one of these orange mixed guppies I used to have. And they had all these babies, and they look really cool with these orange colors and some of that finish from that double sword. So I'm going to keep breeding them and see what kind of pops out if there's something I like. And maybe I'll put them in a separate tank themselves and try to make my own little breed strain of guppy.
Yeah. Now, is that something you think you want to get into maybe more full time? Is like breeding and maybe selling fish? Is that something you thought about doing?
Yeah, in the long run, that would be cool. I don't really have the space for it, to be honest with you. Maybe sometime down the road. Right now, I'm just happy with being able to have the tanks I have and breeding the fish that I do have, and then being able to sell some of that stuff to kind of compensate for it. And then also helps me kind of dwindle my stock down a little bit so that I can come back. Because, when you get some tanks that are just so packed full of like guppies or endlers, it's like you need to cut the stock down on them to be able to help them thrive more too on top of it. So I just find that intriguing, and then be able to make a few bucks off of it.
Yeah. I was watching, I think it was Garcia's Live the other week, and Aquarium Talk TV came on. Apparently, I wasn't really familiar with him. Really nice guy. I guess he's friends with, or maybe cousins or brothers to the DIY King or something. He was on there, and they were talking about lights, and he was saying, like, your Fluval Aqua Sky lights. He's like, Higer makes just as equally as good as a light for a fraction of the cost.
Yep.
And so I got and Higer sent you lights, right?
Yep, I got that light on that 29 gallon with those hyphen blue coral
Gordon.
Muriatis from that one. That's the 24/7 planted one, I believe it is.
Yeah, Gordon is his name. Tommy helped me out with that one. He was on there, so it's like I was curious. Is it like programmable, adjustable, or is it just
You can program it for the whole 24/7 sunrise sunset thing. Honestly, I have it just set at 100% intensity, and I have it on a timer. But it has all those capabilities. I found it's not as bright as my shop lights, but I don't know if I necessarily need that brightness. Like I said, it does cut down on the amount of light that hits the bottom by the substrate, depending on what you have in it. Like I have so many floating plants, that's the issue. When I let that build up on the surface, it cuts a lot of that light out down there. So then I have to constantly take that off. If you have a tank that doesn't have floating plants, it 100% is awesome so far. I mean, I'm not disappointed in it. It's just that's the only flaw I have with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Thanks, Fernando. Appreciate you coming in. Yeah, I got that same problem with when that dang water sprite builds up too much at the top. That light has a hard time penetrating through, and I don't care if you put it on full blast. All that does is create a bunch of algae and burnt leaves.
Yeah. Although my floating plants actually love that bright, like the redroot floaters and my salvinia, and even the duckweed, obviously, like they just thrive on that. That's why if I don't take my duckweed out every week, like I had it in my one tank over there, I scooped it out last night. It was probably like that thick at the surface of duckweed, just because it grows so fast and so much. It was almost like a bog.
Yeah, that's nutsy.
Yeah.
So you got lights, and I did watch your videos, but I like to talk about it when I got you on a live. But so you got lights, and what else did they send you?
I got a heater from them, which is in this tank now. I just shot that video yesterday, so that'll probably be out in like a week or so. I really like this heater, so I'll explain that in that video. But yeah, it's for bigger tanks. This one is. I've got the lowest wattage model. It's a 400 watt one, but it's got a programmable, or not it's a temperature controller attached to it and everything, and it's got auto shut off if the water level goes down below the surface of the heater and everything. So really liking this heater so far.
And it's made out of, what's it made out of?
It looks like it's a plastic material on the outside, but then it looks like it's got normal glass tubes, to be honest. I don't know if it's glass tubes inside or not. I never really looked that far into it. But yeah, my thing is with anything that I'm going to get to review, I'm going to do an unboxing video first and just kind of show what it is, how I got it, how it works. I won't tell you one way or another if I approve of it until I've actually used it for quite a few months. And then I'll do an actual video on it to say whether or not, because I hate to say this is awesome, go out and buy it, it's the greatest product ever, and then 2 weeks later all of a sudden it malfunctions and takes a crash.
Yeah.
And now you just told everyone it's great.
Especially when you're talking about equipment such as heaters and filters. You're doing a review on it, and I think the companies fully understand this takes some time. You can't just throw it in, give it a week, and say, yep, it's great, it's heating up, this does what it says it's going to do. What about 6 months later? Yep. What about a year later?
Yeah. And that's the thing. I could even wait 3 months and say I like it, and it still is not adequate enough of time. Like I remember watching and listening to like even Corey from Aquarium Co-op when they test some of their equipment. I mean, they test it for over a year, just to see if it's good or not, So
and he recently discontinued those heaters because they weren't.
Yeah. That is I actually had one fail in one of my tanks about a month ago. It was with my angelfish tank. Honestly, I was going around doing my normal stuff, and also I noticed it said 65 degrees in the tank. I'm like, what? That makes no sense. This was before they discontinued them. And so I'm like trying to hit the adjustment, and it won't adjust. It stays right at 65. So I'm like, well, this is weird. I know I only got it. I don't remember when I got it. It was probably at least 6 months at the latest before that. And so I emailed Candy over at their customer service, who I want to say actually their customer service is hands down compared to any other company I've ever dealt with. And the minute she got back to me, I just wanted to know if there was something I could do to fix it. Right away, she offered either to send me a new heater, send me a gift card for for that, or if there was something, or if I wanted to be reimbursed for it. So I'm like, I wasn't looking for that, but okay, cool. That's why I love that company as far as their customer service is hands down. So for that kind of stuff. So when all of a sudden I saw this on Facebook, actually, them talking about them discontinuing it, I think he said that their 50-watt heaters were having a 4% failure rate, and their 100-watt, I think, was 7%. I think those were the numbers they had, and he didn't like those numbers and basically said he's going to take the bullet on it and just keep them all and not sell them anymore. I know a lot of people online were kind of saying, well, what if you sold it at a discount with the disclaimer saying, this has a potential to fail, that they're not reliable. But I know he didn't want to do that, which I get as a business move. It's not smart. So
yeah, and that speaks volumes for him alone, because he ate that cost because they weren't up to par. So a lot of the bigger companies probably just send them out there to get rid of them until they make have the fix for them. Yeah. And you are right. I've mentioned that in my videos and before about their customer service is unparalleled. They do very well. He takes pride in that. The only aquarium co-op stuff I've used is his Easy Green and his multi-test strips. I have never bought any of his equipment.
I had the heaters. Like I said, I got his heaters in a lot of my tanks, to be honest with you. I never got his lights. His lights always looked very interesting to me. They're more pricey than I wanted to pay for my tanks down here. If I had like a show tank up like this one, I have a Fluval 3.0 on this plant one on this tank, but I bought that one when I first got into the hobby and it was my only tank up there. But as far as my fish room, I just couldn't justify spending the cost and how good those lights are for all these tanks. That's why I went the shop light route. But I mean, other than that, it's just like the Easy Green and like the root tabs and that type of stuff I all bought from them before. But I mean, every product I've ever bought from them, I've been completely satisfied with.
Yes, I was never a fan of the test strips. Some people have different experiences, but those Tetra test strips and any other one like it are terrible. I hate them. I've disproved them many times. They were inaccurate. I had a local fish store try to tell me that, man, you have like no nitrates at all. Because I had a fish I bought from them and it kept dying. Third time I brought it back. I was like, all these other fish I got from you, fine. All my current fish are fine. This one keeps dying. It was in that tank. Well, bring your water in. Okay. 20 ppm nitrates, right? Which is good. Well, she tested it with her test strip and it was a dang Tetra one. Well, it shows you have no nitrates. And she must have been new or something, because I was like, well, even if there was no nitrates, that is a good thing.
Yeah.
But if it's showing 0, which I know it isn't 0 because I tested mine before I came here and it was at 20. Mm-hmm. Even if it was 0, that's even better. They would not honor that fish for a third time because it was showing no nitrates. Now, does that make sense?
No, unless they're trying to claim that your tank wasn't cycled. If they're only testing but I would assume if they're testing for nitrate, I mean, depending on what test kit they were using, they would have seen if there was ammonia or nitrite in it, unless they were just doing a standalone nitrate test on it.
Yeah. It was a stick, and I was like, everything's perfect. I was like, I know my tanks are good. It's not my water. It's not my freaking water. They wouldn't give it to me. It was a fire mouth cichlid. All the cichlids I bought, that one kept dying. It's like 3 times in a row. All the other ones I got were fine. But I don't know what the issue was. But the reason why I brought that up is prior I always used the API Liquid Master Test Kit, and I found that their test strips were just as accurate.
Yep.
And I just love how quick you can go around and test all your tanks, 5 minutes, or you're done.
Yep. I like the API test kits. They were very accurate. Like you said, it just took so long, especially if you had multiple tanks, to sit there to mix them all up, do it, and wait 5 minutes for everyone to go. It just like, once those test kits strips came out from Aquarium Co-op, it was just like, oh. Yeah. It's like doom, 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 doom. 5 minutes later, cool, good.
Get out of here. $10 for, what is it? $10 for like 200 strips.
Yeah, and a DIY trick: cut those suckers in half or in 3, and you got twice as many. That's what I do with all of them. Just take a scissors, I cut the test strip in half. Now you have multiple strips.
Dude,
how many I wasted in the beginning?
Mind.
Yeah, before I didn't come up with it. I saw it online, so I'm not going to take credit for that. But yeah, I was using full ones all the time. I'm like, wait a minute, I can cut these in half. Christ, yeah, you got to cut them in three sometimes. Save yourself some money, and you could those 100 test strips you can turn into 300.
Dude, it's funny because when I opened a new one up one time, one came like that. I was like, oh, they just must have had a bad, it got cut wrong at the
Yeah.
fucking manufacturing shop, whatever, right? I'm like, but it still works. Then you just said that. I thought, well, that's a fantastic idea, Patty. I'm gonna be doing that shit today.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, that is a huge cost saver. I have the one. I don't really test much anymore, but I did when I first started this tank up. I was testing quite a bit, but yeah, it's like cut them in half, or cut them in thirds. Like there's so much money you could save on it.
Oh, Raisin Fishes said that the maker himself said to do it.
Cool. That maybe that's where I seen it. I really couldn't remember. It's been a while.
Then what company do you know is going to give you that information?
No, I mean that's why I go back to I love aquarium co-op, especially when I first got into this hobby. Well, I still love them today, but they were pretty much the ones that got me into planted tanks and got me not to be afraid to try them and taught me so many different DIY like tricks and things to do to just save yourself money and still be successful. Even if it didn't make them money by, oh yeah, don't buy equipment for inside your media for inside your filter. Just fill it with sponges or whatever, and you never have to buy anything again, like that kind of stuff. It's just like that baffled my mind. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's like when I have like relatives that get into the hobby now, and they'll be like, well, what do I need? I got this filter. I just changed the cartridge, like, and it's having cloudy water. I'm like, throw your cartridge away. I said, get sponges or get bio rings, put stuff like that inside your hang in the back or whatever you're using. And I said, and use that. I said, don't be putting all this stuff and wasting your time and your money on it. So it's like just that kind of information I find mind blowing. And like I said, in the whole aspect of how well of a customer service that company is on top of it, because like I said, they're true hobbyists at heart as well. All of them are big fish nerds like we are. So they're all about, yeah, he wants to make a buck, but he also wants to help people because he knows if he's going to help people, people are going to come back to him,
Yeah. I never even thought about cutting that dang thing in half. I'm glad you shared that. Hey, Stubbs, thanks for coming in. Adele came in and said hello.
Stubbs, I have to say, being on YouTube,
Tucker.
You find some people you become friends with. You're including one of them, Jesse. But I've really gotten to know Chris, Mr. Stubbs, over the last few months a little better, and I really enjoy talking to him. And it's just cool some of the people that you can meet on this YouTube thing, which I never thought about. Like when I first got into making this channel, like when I watched YouTube, I never watched any smaller channels. I really didn't even know that there were smaller channels, to be honest with you. You just always watch the big ones. And then I think it was Jeff Pelham actually was the first one that subscribed to my channel when I made my first video. And then I subscribed back to him, and I think I was on a live stream of his. And then all of a sudden, all these people I'm talking to, and then they start subscribing to me, and I'm subscribing to them and starting to talk to them. It's like there is a whole other world out there besides just these big guys.
Yeah.
So I find that fascinating and very cool to be able to connect and talk to people from all over the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. You do make those connections. You do make those friends. Hey, Vibes, thanks for coming in, buddy. Yeah, I've talked with Stubbs. The first time I met Stubbs, didn't meet him, but through the videos, I put a video out and he commented and gave me his input on I can't remember what video it was. And I said, well, thanks for coming. I appreciate you. And this very next thing was, and I'm super glad he did this because I subbed to his channel and got to watch his videos. He goes, and I hope he don't get mad at me for this, but I remember it. He goes, how did he put that? How did he put that? How do you say it? Return would be nice. Would be appreciated.
Return the favor or whatever.
Return the favor. And I'm like, what does he mean by that? What does he mean by that? I was like, oh, maybe he means go over and check his stuff out. I'm like, yeah, dummy. I try to do that for everybody, but it's so dang impossible to get everybody's live, everybody's video, everybody's short. But I did. I went over and I watched several of his videos, and I like what he puts out there, and I like him a lot.
Yep, absolutely. That's the hard part now too, because when I only watched the big guys before I had this channel, you had a limited number of people that you watched on YouTube. You could keep up pretty quick. Now my subscription feed is the number of people I'm subscribed to is so huge. It's like you go through, it's like you miss a day or two of watching people's videos, you fall so far behind. It's like right now I'm really far behind again. I tried catching up the other day, but it's just like, oh my gosh, you sit there and you got to go through and try to watch as many as you can, because I like paying back. People that watch my videos and comment on mine, I 100% want to watch yours and comment on back. It's like I appreciate it, and I want to show that same appreciation back. But not only that, I still like to watch other people's as well and support them and comment on their videos if I can.
Vibes, I think you're joking. If you're not joking, this is Pattys Aquatics. If you ain't subbed to him, go check him out. I think Vibes is joking though.
I didn't hear what he said.
He said, "Who's the guest?"
My name is Pattys Aquatics. Well, actually, you want a funny story? My name isn't Patty. It's actually my middle name. My middle name is Patrick.
Okay.
It started as a joke. All my nephews I make fun of all the time. They all have middle names. It was like Steven and James, so I was calling them Stevie, and Jimmy, so they started calling me Patty because my middle name is Patrick. So it became a running theme and a joke of my whole wife's family calls me Patty, especially now that I got this YouTube channel. But my real name is Adam. But
Adam?
But
okay.
People can call me whatever. If you want to call me Patty or Adam, I don't care. I just found it. I was gonna approach the subject like earlier, like not in this live stream, but I meant in general. But I was like, you know what? It doesn't really make a difference. I mean, I go by Patty anyway as a nickname, but I thought it was a funny story, be able to call people their middle names like that. And the funny story with it too is when I first started selling fish locally around here, I sold them through Facebook, and then I would meet people to sell some of the fish out of my aquariums here in Pattys Aquatics. And this one guy comes up to me because I was selling to two people. There was a woman and this other guy, and I sold to the woman, and she left, and he's like, "Where's she going? Like, what are you talking about? Isn't she Pattys Aquatics? Pattys Aquatics?" I'm like, "No, I am." He's like, "Oh, I thought I was talking to a girl the whole time." Like, no, I guess I could see the confusion.
Yeah. I thought that at first. I thought I'd seen your name. I'm like, who's Patty's? No. Oh, okay. I had to figure that one out too. Raisin's middle name is the same as yours. And now Stubbs knows your first name.
Yeah. I think there's only a couple people that knew. Aqua Edition knew because I emailed them when they did that tour video for me on their channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was one other one. I can't remember though. But yeah, I didn't really like broadcast it, but it wasn't like I said, I still get called Patty, so it's still like a nickname of mine. So, but I just thought it was a funny story. I thought I would share it on your live stream.
Yeah. Yeah, every once in a while, I mean, and they do it to us, 1,040 subscribers. You get up in the morning, you're down to 1,039. It happens. It goes back and forth all the time. And it's like Bunny was saying here, you almost have to go through and weed them out a little bit. Like, I don't know your guys' thoughts or your thoughts on it, Patty. And when I did my top 6 rated fish keeping channel video, I mentioned this a little bit, but like these, for fun, if you want to sub to them, do whatever you want. It's your life, but like aquarium info.
Oh my God. My daughter was just watching that this morning. I had no idea who that was. She's obsessed with axolotls. So she was watching all these videos. I'm like, who is this chick? And then I looked and seen she had like so many million subscribers. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
These videos? I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
You are not attractive female in a bikini as a thumbnail saying I turned my whole house into an aquarium. That's what you're doing wrong. Yep. I tell my wife all the time, I said, just pretend you're cleaning a tank out in a skirt once for me. She don't play that game.
I mean, I could put a bikini on and clean my tanks, but I don't think I would gain subscribers. I'd probably lose them. Woo! Do you want to see me clean?
I don't know anymore, buddy. You probably take off. Vibes, that's funny. Vibes was serious. He didn't know you, but now he's subbed to you.
Hey, Vibes, I think I'm subscribed to your channel.
Yeah. He's been out there a while. He's a good dude.
If not, I will be, but I'm pretty sure I am.
Yeah.
Now, now that you're over 1,000 subscribers, do you no longer get notifications of people subscribing to your channel anymore?
No, I got a couple this week.
Okay, because around 800, I stopped getting notifications when new people subscribed to my channel any longer. All of a sudden, I started getting. I'd go on my channel, especially after that fish tour video came out, and all of a sudden I've got more subscribers and more, and I'm never getting notifications. And I'm not understanding why. Then I kind of Googled a little bit, and it seems like when you hit a certain number, they stop sending you notifications of new subscribers. But if you go on your studio, the web browser portion of it, you can actually go look and see everyone that subscribed. So I thought that was kind of interesting because I was a little confused myself. I'm like, why am I not seeing anything anymore? Because I was used to always like looking at my phone, like, okay, how many views? Oh, okay, got a new subscriber. It's like now I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that until you mentioned that, but I did. I did give me a couple notifications that I got a couple new subscribers this week, so it still does that for me. I'm just trying to get them time hours up, and the live streams definitely are helping that a lot.
Yeah, I know, like the shorts, they don't count to your overall watch hours. They have their own watch hours. Um, I don't know how you reach those unless you got a very big following in shorts. Like I said, that fish tour video really put me over the edge for my overall watch hours. When that thing came out, I think I went like a couple weeks past that, and I finally reached that 4,000 because I was getting so many views on that video. I was not expecting that at all, but yeah, that, like I said, I had no inkling that I would ever make that point as soon as I did.
Yeah. No, it's great. You've been doing great. I watched you go boom.
Yeah. Like I said, it takes one or two videos to kind of put you up over the edge, get a little bit more of a following. And, my views go like this.
Yeah.
I had one last week. I got like over 2,000 views, and the one I put out Friday, I think I just got over 200. So,
Yeah.
it goes like that. But then all of a sudden you'll have like a day, it's like stagnant, and all of a sudden you get one day for a few hours, woo, it shoots up and then goes flatlined again. So it's like
Yeah.
I don't even pretend to try to understand the algorithm or how that works anymore, to be honest with you.
It's eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah, I'll make videos that I think people will like. I like them. I watch them. My wife always tells me, "Don't you get sick of watching yourself?" I'm like, I'm editing videos. Like I'm watching it constantly because I want to make sure that everything's good, everything's the way I want it, that there's no mistakes, that's how I want it. So I'm not watching it just to watch myself,
Yeah.
But I'll find videos like that and I'll put them out and I'm like, okay, I really like this video. And then, yeah, 200 views. Like, what?
Yeah.
Then I'll put one out like, okay, I'm just going to film myself doing this quick because, I wanted to film and document what I'm doing, and you put it out there, all of a sudden, boom. It's like, I don't understand. I will never understand. I don't think anyone will ever understand.
No.
It's probably YouTube people on computers going, I'm going to screw with this guy today. He really likes this video. I'm going to make no views for him.
You're right. There is no rhyme or reason to it. I mean, there is. I mean, obviously, if you're putting out something that people want to see, that it's half-naked women, it's drama, it's controversy, or it's ridiculously funny, you're going to be good. But what we're doing with our niche, you're going to have a little bit more editing skills. You're going to have to, unless you don't care and you're just going to put out what you want to put out, and what happens, which sometimes is a great mentality to have. But if you're looking to get them watch time hours and get them subscribers and get monetized, you've really got to put the time in, do those SEO checklists, do those editings, make sure you're accurate, and do things that are trending. Because if you're not, you're never going to make it. I think the most views I have on any one video is 4K. That's shorts included. So I've never done really well. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong, what people hate, what people like. I'm always asking for advice on what I should change. And one of them feedbacks I got is I was always putting up subtitles that would come up because I read from the YouTubers that put out videos for growing your channel. They said you need to put the subtitles in that come out because it's visually pleasing and people like to see it. Plus, it helps people who can't hear good.
Yep.
So I was doing that, but I found out that most people found that more annoying because you can hit CC on the video anyways. But they're not as colorful. Half the time, they're not as accurate. You know what I mean? But I got rid of them, and my watch hours or my views did go up since I got rid of them. So I'm slowly trying to fine tune my channel. I just can't. I don't know what else to do to get people to want to watch the whole time.
Yeah.
I added humor in, which I think helped. I did get some feedback.
I actually really enjoy them. I think
Yeah.
it's funny at the top of every video there.
Yeah, it gives you something to kind of look forward to. What's it going to do this on this intro?
Yeah.
Last one was drinking some API.
Yeah. I want to know what was really in there. A shot of what?
Apple juice.
Oh.
I cleaned that thing out with soap and water.
Nice.
Put some apple juice in it. And I had to do it twice because I messed the first one up. But it's fun. And at the end of the day, they say, don't worry about it. It's going to come to you. Either it does or it don't. If you're enjoying it, enjoy it.
Yeah. Like my point of view is just, I'm going to just keep making videos of what I'm doing down here. If there's certain subjects I want to talk about, I'll make a video on it. Sure. Do I want to get a lot of views on every videos and be able to keep going like that? Absolutely. Just because that's kind of exciting and fun. But if it don't, then it don't.
Yeah, you still got your hobby.
Yep, just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm doing this because I love all these tanks and everything that's down here, and just sharing it more than anything. And if there comes a time where my channel becomes completely stagnant and no one's watching it, you know what? I don't care. I'll still document it because that's something for me to look back on. Or maybe someday when I'm not here anymore, my daughter's got something to go back and look on,
Yeah, you can't beat the fact that it's a great storage for videos and memories.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God, yeah. I don't have to store crap on my phone anymore when it comes to stuff. If I need some footage from in the past, I just go back to my old videos and screen record and take it and I put it in my new video.
Oh, Jeff, you talked about Jeff Pelham. He's over on Rumble, and I have a Rumble thing that I put out every once in a while. Very slow, not near as big. Your traction's very low in there, but basically what he uses it for is like backup. He's importing all of his videos over there to archive them just in case something happens to his YouTube channel. He still has all of his videos over at Rumble. Nice. He was talking about that. Raisin says, my channel is small and not real good at doing videos, but just trying to share what the good and bad, ugly of the hobby. Yeah, and I think that's what we all do. Some of us do a little bit different things, but in the end, I like adding some humor into it while sharing some pertinent information. And, there for a while, I was getting pretty just not disgruntled, but like bummed out because like the hobby's so saturated. Everybody has done this video on this subject a million times. What can I possibly do that no one hasn't seen anymore? And it was Aquarium Adventures who commented on that video and said, yeah, but you know what? Take music, for instance. Take a music artist. Every note has been played throughout the centuries and decades. If you took that mentality to music, we'd have no music anymore. It's what you do differently. It's what spin you add to it. And that's what makes it different. Plus, people were being born every day. People were coming into this hobby every day. And not everybody knows what we do. And I think a lot of times we get that we're so saturated in the hobby and we're so into it. We know all the ins and outs. I think, especially when you add the YouTube factor into it, we get to the point where like, man, there's nothing I can do. I can't think of anything. But we forget to step outside that box and get out of the tunnel and remember, not everybody knows this stuff. So it is new information to other people.
And that's kind of amazing too. Even people that are in the hobby, like when I was at that fish fair, talking to some people, and I said my plants all came out of dirty tanks, and they're like, "Oh, I've always wanted to try that, but I'm kind of scared." I think, "Don't be scared." I said, "It's not that hard." I said, "Just do some research." Like that's my biggest thing always with anything. Is just make sure you do your research. You don't want to jump into anything blind, and then that's when you suffer your problems because you might not have thought of something. But that's kind of what I told them is just like do research. So I'm not necessarily saying you have to watch my channel, but if you do, cool. But there's so much information out there, no matter what you're looking for, and it's very nice to have all that information out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then guys like Shrimp in here, I don't know how anybody maintains over 20 tanks. He's got 40. Eaters have like coming up on 500. Granted, they're mostly shrimp, but 40 tanks. I would never have 40 tanks, one, because I like bigger tanks and bigger fish. Yeah. One, unless you have a dedicated room to house all that and have a fish room, like I'd have to convert my garage over to it, which I'd love to do. But I don't know how anybody has the time for that many tanks.
Well, I'll tell you this much. If I wasn't married, my whole house would be full of tanks.
Oh, yeah.
Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But remember that air pine and everything I talked about? Yeah, my basement where I'm sitting now would probably be one big DIY pond.
I'm wondering if you wouldn't dig a big old pond and put them out there and have heat it somehow. I don't know. I don't know what our customers need.
Wisconsin here, probably wouldn't attempt that with that kind of fish. It gets cold and wintry here. Although I do want to put a pond in my backyard in the future, and I actually did get the okay from my wife. I just have to wait till my daughter's a little older and her play set is no longer being used. So it'll be a few years, but then I got time to kind of plan.
Yeah, so you guys are more worried about her falling in?
No, just so she's got room to be able to play in the backyard.
Okay, I got you.
When I go big, I go home. Or
Yeah.
go big or go home, however that saying goes.
I got you.
Yeah. I already got an elaborate scape in the back of my head about how I want to put it.
Yeah. And it's nice too to have a pond big enough. Like if you have a fish that's going to outgrow, you can just throw them in there.
Yep.
Stubbs says he mumbles when he talks to God. Who knows what would show up in the subtitles?
You know, funny with subtitles too. There's a couple of YouTubers I'm subscribed to that are from like Germany and stuff that don't speak English. I like to watch their channels. It's just so hard. You had to sit there and like. I like the captions and subtitles when the person is actually speaking English, because if I'm not completely paying attention, I can just read it. But when the person is actually speaking a different language and you really have to concentrate on that, it's really hard.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And even if they can speak English pretty good, their accent sometimes makes it hard to understand different things they say.
Mm-hmm.
So I get you on that. I never had a plan for my channel other than to film my fish and share with my friends. Not trying to gain anything, just sharing people who might want to look at my fish. Been very happy. So yeah, Bunny's one that takes it as easy approach. Is what it is. Don't get excited. Vibes. I'm getting caught up on chat here a little bit. Bunny Viper, yeah, he agrees. She agrees. I do one educational video on Daphne. I saw that video, Bunny. I watched that video. She did a video on how to grow Daphnia. I think it was. So, well, we're getting down to that 2-hour mark. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us, or anything that you'd like to give us a sneak peek on that you haven't already?
Just basically, like I said, I've got some videos coming out. I've got the food web project starting in this tank that heater review, and I've got 3 tanks with new fish in it. So also the next month will be videos of new stuff. So I'll be kind of excited for that. If you watch it, cool. If you don't, I'm still enjoying it. So
yeah. Well, I'll be watching it.
Definitely.
And like Bunny Viper and Mark that comes in, these guys, I always like to shout out Bunny and Mark Sturleson. I don't know if you've seen them. You've ever come across the live streams that are going on, there might be 2 people on there. Those 2 people are most likely going to be Bunny and Mark. They truly give support to help the channels out, where most people have gotten off. They're still on watching it. Even those Thursday night live streams I started where I just put music on a tank.
Yep.
They're there watching.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Those streams don't get near as much traffic as my normal stream does.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's hard to please everybody. You know, I added that in because I like, and it should be coming today. I ordered the power adapter for my Canon camera. So next Thursday, it should be a lot better video quality. I did that to help my watch hours. And 2, I see a lot of people enjoying those aquarium relaxing streams.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to try my hand at that too. So I'll keep those going Thursday night at 6 p.m. and then this one Saturday at 9 a.m. and see how it goes. If people like it, they don't. But they're always in there. They're watching it. They're great supporters. Garcia Aquatics is another one. We all support as much as we can, but it does get hard. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Streams.
There's a lot of stuff to watch. Right now, for live streams with me, I'll come on people like yours and stuff like that. But I don't know if I'll ever do them myself. Maybe somewhere down the road. But right now, I spend so much time just making and editing videos. It's more extra time to go into that as well, you know. Oh.
You make me mad because you don't even stream and you're already there.
Like I said, 1 or 2 good videos can just put you over the edge. You just need one that's gonna pop.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna do to get it, but I'm working on it. Hey, Mike B, thanks for coming in, buddy. Yes, sir. So what are you gonna do for the rest of the day? You got your tank work done.
I'm actually into making sourdough bread from the start. I got a homemade starter, so I've got 3 loaves of that I'm going to pop in the oven today. And then other than that, I'm not sure. I do want to clean out my cars since it's supposed to be like in the 60s here in Wisconsin this weekend.
Yeah.
Because we had actually a wacky weather week. On Tuesday, it got up to 70 degrees. And then we had some thunderstorms that night. And then the temperature dropped 56 degrees and went down to about 18 to 20 degrees. And we got a little bit of snow. And now it's starting to gradually work its way back up again. So it's been a real wacky weather week here.
Yeah, that's some major ups. That's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
We get weather like that, but not to those extremes.
Yeah.
Y'all seen the channel Aquatics by Nature? He has a great dirty tank in Nature's. Yeah, I have.
I'm subscribed to his channel. He's the guy that's got like the almost
30-year-old substrate. Yes, and he was up on Father Fish's stream the other night.
Yep. Actually, do you know who Lush and Salty is, Stefan?
Yeah.
He's actually going to be on Father Fish, his live stream, I think, tomorrow. I saw a notification.
Okay. I like Father Fish. He's down to earth type of dude. He'll get back to you. I hope I got the right email because he was down for it, reviewing his products. I'd love for him to send me his recipe for success and try it out.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tommy gave me an old email that doesn't work or what.
Does he have it on his description of his YouTube channel at all?
I looked. I see no email. That's why I texted Tommy. I thought maybe you might have some information.
No, I've never really contacted him personally other than him commenting on my videos or him saying hi in a live stream.
And see, I hate to ask under a comment on a video.
No, and I agree 100%.
It's the only way I can talk to him.
Well, it's like even because of him being the only member of my channel, like I wanted to say thank you, but he commented on my video last week, so I kind of put on there. And by the way, thank you for being my only member of my channel. At least I can always say my first member was always you. So I wanted to say thank you somehow, but there's no way to get a hold of him besides on a live stream or through there.
Yeah. Which reminds me, if anybody, and I think everybody in here already knows you, but those who don't, check out Pattys Aquatics channel. He's got great information on there on the filterless, dirted natural tanks that truly save you a ton of money in the hobby and make it a lot more enjoyable, easier on the electric bill, easier on the water. Check him out and go be a member too if you can do it and help support him. Because like me, anything I might get, I'm going to put right back into the hobby.
Yeah, when I first get that YouTube check, first place I'm going is the fish store.
Yeah.
$100 worth of fish, baby.
That's right. Put it right back into and that's what I say on mine. When I get there and I actually get to the point where vendors are contacting me and I can actually maybe get big enough where I get some really nice things. That's when I want to start giving away expensive stuff, filters, medications, things like that. And so the more people share this out, the more people like it, the more people that do the same with you, your videos, the bigger the channel get, the better the gifts can get, and the better, like you were saying earlier, you want to give back. I want to give back too, but I don't want to make it stupid sample packs of food. I want to give away something nice.
Yeah, I actually at that swap meet, I contacted Northfin because I wanted to give away sample bags of fish food for them for free. And then I said, they have a raffle. I asked, is there anything you want to possibly donate? He sent me one of those huge bags of food for them to donate to be able to raffle off or keep. And then Tiger, when I was reviewing this heater, they sent me the wrong one, the first one. They sent me a 1200 watt heater. Well, that's way too big for anything I got. Yeah. They told me just to keep it. So I said, hey, do you mind if I donate it to that rescue, the JNR Aquatic Animal Rescue? Because he said he would take it and use it for his sump there. And I said, sure. So, I'm glad to just be able to give stuff back, even if it's not personally coming out of my pocket. But, hey, if I can give it to somebody to help somebody out, that's perfect.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about it, because every third stream, I like to do a giveaway stream. And so look forward to next week's stream. It's going to be a giveaway, and it's going to be on the Chemipure Nano Green. This is for the planted freshwater tank for your smaller tanks. So anybody that has smaller tanks, the video I released today shows these in action, but that's what I'm going to be giving away on next week's stream. So come join and enter for a chance to win that. Because they gave me 2 of those and I have 1, and I just only have like 3 small aquariums set up now, and those will last me forever.
Yeah.
So and that's what I want to do. Anytime I get things like this, I want to pay it forward to other people that might want to try it out, and so we'll see how things go. I'm excited either way. I enjoy doing this. I certainly met friends like you and Bunny and everybody else in chat. Mike B. I enjoy hanging out with you guys and having someone to share the hobby with because my family don't care about it. So I really get to share it with.
I'm in the same boat. My wife doesn't really care too much. My daughter's enthralled with it. She comes down here and helps feed fish with me every day. My one brother-in-law and his girlfriend, and some of them will watch some of the videos. But other than that, no one's got the same insane fish brain mentality like we do.
Yeah. I never thought it would blow up like this, and YouTube has definitely helped put fuel under that, but it's fun. I enjoy it. For me, I'm not going to get I'm going to probably get one more tank, and that tank's going to be a monster tank, and that big boy is going to go right in the center of this room here once I can set up another place to eat. But I'm talking, if it's going to be my last tank, I want it to be at least 300 to 500 gallons.
Nice.
They're expensive. I'd love to go bigger, but I mean, I don't know how Ohio Fish Rescue gets those massive tanks. How do you afford that?
I don't know, to be honest with you. They have some big ones. I don't know if they're building or they're making another one in that area where that wishbone tank was because it's leaking. I know they took all those catfish out of there, and they're talking about putting another monster tank right in there. So they're trying to sell that Dwight Howard tank I saw on Facebook that they have too, that aquarium or whatever you call it, where it's dry and water. I think they were offering it for like $7,000 for someone to want to buy. So
that's a dang good price, but still, I don't have $7,000.
No, not at all. You're cheaper off building a plywood one. Have you watched Cicla Brothers before?
Yeah.
He's one of the brothers is building actually a big plywood tank down in his fish room right now. I've been watching that a little bit. I find those interesting. I would love to do that someday. I don't got the room though, unless I could open up a wall down here and put all these tanks somewhere else. So, but again, that would install not having a wife or family in my house.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot cheaper, but you're still getting into quite a bit of cost building one of those tanks. That pond shield alone is expensive.
Yeah, very true.
And the biggest expense is the glass. I would love to build a 500-gallon tank out of plywood, but you still have to buy a very thick, very long sheet of glass that costs.
Oh, yeah. Nothing's cheap.
Just one more. That's funny. Famous last words. Salient Patty, I got to drop out. Thanks much for the great live stream. I subbed to several of the folks on the stream. Bye for now. Gotta get the word changed. No raisin or raisin. I'm assuming raisin. Appreciate you coming in and talking and chatting and hanging out with us.
I'll make sure to pop on your channel and hit that subscribe button when I'm off of here.
Yeah, I think I already am, but I'll double check. You know how sometimes you can be removed, not know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, buddy. As that said, I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to jump off myself.
Oh, yeah.
So thanks for coming in and talking with me.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's been a long time coming, and you want me on again sometime, just let me know.
Absolutely. Anytime. You know that. I'll send you the link. And if you happen to be in my live streams and feel like coming up, I'll put them links in the chat. You can come up anytime you want.
You betcha. That sounds good.
Aquarium Delirium came in late. He's like a scab, shows up after the work's done.
What the heck, Maul? We've been here for over 2 hours. You just pop on now, right when we're closing up.
All right, buddy. You have a good rest of your weekend. Thank you again.
You too. See you later, Jesse.
See you, buddy. All right, guys. Check you later. Thanks for everybody who stayed and supported and watched and hung out with us. Appreciate it. Pattys Aquatics, good dude. Like I said, if you don't know him, go to his channel, check him out, and subscribe because he's on his way up and he can definitely use the support. But I know Patty, he only wants you to do it if you're interested in what he's doing. So talk later. All good, buddy.